doing a live event right now for basically a questions and answer holiday gift guide. So I'm just going to get everything started here, and feel free to ask questions um, and and go from there. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and orient this the correct way this time, and tag this guy up here. Um, I'm going to be doing a live event right now where I'm going to be answering your questions on what to get somebody that kind of has everything, but is also a cocktail fan. I do have a window up here for chats, so I'm going to be monitoring that as well. So feel free to ask any questions that you might have. This is probably going to be about half an hour or so. I'm here to answer any of the questions you have. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of an overview of some of the gift ideas that I have for everyone that might be a cocktail lover. So if you're just popping in, then you can take a look at it as well and see some of the other options. So I'm going to start on kind of the low side here. And what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you, David. So if you have any questions on kind of cocktail gear or cocktail buyer's guide, just drop it in the chat, and I'm here to answer any questions and kind of give you some overview of some of the items that I recommend for people that are into cocktails. You probably have a suggestion as well. So if you have any suggestions, drop it in the chat. So for me, it's always depends on who you're buying for, right? Because if the person is kind of really well established and they have a bunch of alcohol and they know exactly what to do with them, it makes it a little harder to do to buy for them. But if they're just getting started, it's a lot easier to buy for them because they're basically starting from scratch. So if the person that you're buying for is kind of new to the world of cocktails or craft cocktails and they really want to get started, then there are a couple things that I would highly recommend. Number one is to get them a really good shaker set. So barware in general. So I own a company called A Bar Above. We make some of the best barware in the entire world. I do have a favorite eggnog, man. I do. I've perfected my eggnog recipe over a couple of years of service. I'll have to find that. But if you look up eggnog recipe, A Bar Above, I guarantee you it's on the web somewhere. It is delicious, and I highly recommend taking a look at it. A little labor intensive, but that would be a killer gift for somebody for sure. So cocktail shaker set like this one would be a great starting point. You can find these over at A Bar Above, and this is not going to be an infomercial for my products, but any barware you need, I promise you they're going to be so excited for having our barware. That as well as books. You cannot go wrong with books. So you can start off with some great books. There's some ones that I highly recommend. Let's see here. Bar Book. This is phenomenal. This is a great book for basically anyone. This is somebody I'd recommend for like an intermediate level. They really know what they're doing. They can make great cocktail recipes, but they're looking for a little bit more. This is a fantastic book. Gary Regan has another good book called The Joy of Mixology. That's a great starting point. Dale DeGroff has one as well. He would be the author. So I'd highly recommend taking a look at those books for sure. So, and then spirits. So if they're just getting into the world of cocktails, they're going to need some alcohol. So I would highly recommend going to Total Wine and picking out some really great spirits. So one that I recommend as far as whiskey goes is this product here, Rittenhouse Rye. This will make a great starting point for cocktail lovers. If they're a whiskey person, this makes great classic cocktails. This is kind of the quintessential rye at $20 a bottle. So this is really good. This is the Bottled and Bond. It's 100 proof, so it has a little bit more character, but it's worth the money. It's 20 bucks. It's easy to get started on that one. For gin, Tanqueray is a good one. I actually have a little recommendation list I have up here I'm going to pull up just so I'm make sure I have the right list that I'm doing. And I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I still see you in there, David, so good to see you, man. Compton. I'm down in San Diego, and love California, man. So Elijah Craig is a good one as well. I think I have the bottle here. This is the 94 proof, but this is a really, really good starting point for bourbons, for sure. But you really can't go wrong with some entry-level spirits. I would recommend, if you're going to be doing gin, reading off my list here, Bombay Sapphire, a Mass dry gin is phenomenal. And also, if you want to get on a couple different bottles, I know Total Wine & More has the little tiny ones, and I'm not talking like airplane, travel ones. I'm talking like 200 mils or 375, so like half bottles. So you can get a variety of really great spirits at a good price if you go with those minis, the half bottles, and get a nice selection as well. Now, as far as tequilas go, there's some sleepers out there for $20. Arete is a phenomenal brand. Let's see what else I got in here. Humidor is a good, just staple. I think the best one for the price, under that $25, is Olmeca Altos. Olmeca Altos. Fantastic agave, really good tequila, and for the price point, it's really hard to beat that bottle. So that would be a good choice for you on that. Now with rum, if they are a tiki person or love rum, anything that says this name, Dorley's. So this is a phenomenal producer. The person that's making this is actually Foursquare. Fantastic distillery, and the amount of quality in this bottle for the price is just beyond compare. And they have some at like $20, they have some at $25, but this is a really, really great one. This happens to be the XO. They have an 8-year, a 12-year, all really, really good bottlings. But if you are looking to buy anything for somebody in the world of cocktails, let me know. Drop me some questions and I'm happy to answer them. But I'm just going to keep going over some other recommendations that I have as well. So let's see, as far as, other ideas for spirits. Now, when you start doing liqueurs and other spirits like that, it can get a little bit tricky because sometimes you'll invest in a bottle and you'll never use it. So that's where the liqueurs and stuff kind of get a little bit weird, and I don't recommend it unless you know they're going to drink it. Now, if it's, let's say, a bartender you're buying for, they would love a bottle of Fernet in general. Some people don't enjoy it, but that has been an industry spirit and industry liqueur for 15, 20 years. At one point, it was called the bartender's handshake because generally only bartenders would drink it. It is definitely an acquired taste, but for the right person, it is a really nice bottle. Lillet Blanc is kind of the sleeper bottle that's a little bit hard to find. I don't have one here with me, but that is more of an aperitif, that like a wine, a fortified wine, that has really fantastic, rich, deep orange flavors to it. And that bottle is really, really good. You can find it for about $20, $25. And that with a little bit of soda water or just on ice with a lemon zest on it is the perfect summer cocktail. You could drain that entire bottle in one day, just sitting back watching time go by. It's that good. It's really good. So that one is called Lillet Blanc, B-L-A-N-C-K. And a really good Calvados too. Let's see if I have it up here. I thought I did. Yeah, there's a really good Calvados, and so if they are a cognac drinker, then Calvados could be the thing that you want to buy them. And that is basically an apple brandy. So it's apple juice that has been fermented and then turned into a brandy and then aged. And the one I have is escaping me. I just bought the bottle. Pardon me 1 second while I track this guy down. Here it is. Sorry about that. Little break. Bruneroy VSOP Cognac. Not Cognac, I apologize. Calvados. So Calvados in general is apple brandy. This stuff is apple in a glass. It is so good. It's so expressive. And for the price point, man, you really can't beat this. I think I got this for around $20, and it just smells like apple. And a lot of Calvados don't have that huge expression. So that's why I really like this particular brand, Bruneroy VSOP. Okay, so we talked a little bit about books. We talked a little bit about building spirits and some of the other ideas as far as like cocktail shakers and gear and stuff. Now, I would recommend taking a look and see what they already have. But once again, if you head on over to barabove.com, they're going to be really excited to receive anything that we have to offer. If there's a kind of a hole in their tool lineup, for sure. So next, let's talk about kind of that next category up. Maybe you want to spend a little bit more money. So this could be anywhere from $25 to $50. And these would be the spirits that I would probably recommend you buy. Now, this is probably for somebody that already has a nice little collection and you want something a little bit more special, or you're looking for a really good treat. Now, in general, I always recommend, like, if they are a bourbon drinker, find out what they drink. There's a significant difference between all the different styles of whiskey. So finding out kind of what they're looking for. If they're a Jack Daniel's drinker, they probably really, really love Jack Daniel's. Same thing with Jim Beam and Wild Turkey and all those brands. There's a lot of layers and a lot of different price points that you can stay still within that same family and have an amazing gift experience. I know that Johnny Walker does a great job as well, but the Wild Turkey, the rare breed, is phenomenal. It's so good. So that one, some of the Jack Daniel's single barrels are really screaming good. You know, you might be spending a little bit more money, but it is a special gift. So those bottles are really, really fantastic. Now, as far as the ones on my list, let's see this one here. Uncle Nearest is a fantastic producer of bourbon. The 1884 is really good spirit. So they'll probably be pretty excited to receive this bottle. Then I also have another one called Michter's Rye. What's up, man? Let's see, I'm going to read over here, so I want to make sure I say hi. Hey, what's up, man? I have all my stuff, though, you guys, and I'm happy. Thanks for all that you do. Cocktail makers trying to learn the craft. Oh, man, I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, so this is kind of the buyer's guide. So if you got some suggestions, then please put it in the comments, because it sounds like you're pretty experienced in making cocktails. So I'd love to find out what you would love for Christmas. I think we're just talking about spirits. We're in that $25 to $50 range, and we're going over some whiskeys. I call out Michter's Rye in there, and basically anything from Michter's is really good. If you're looking for tequila, G4 tequila is probably some of the best tequila in that price point, in my opinion. It's one of the newer brands out there, but it is just so good. So that would be that Tapatio Blanco. If you can get an overproof tequila in that $50 range, highly recommend it. Tequila just gets much more expressive, in my opinion, once you get out of that 80 proof range. Once you're up into that 100, it becomes really fun and very expressive and makes screaming good cocktails for the overproof stuff. So yeah, that's definitely what I would recommend. Now with gin, this one here. This is Bar Hill Gin. Now, this is an unusual gin, and you're not going to be able to find it everywhere. So what this is basically like a honeyed gin. It starts off really, really kind of weighty on the mouth with honey. It gets really floral. It is a beautiful bottle of gin. It's unusual, but if you're making any kind of honey-driven cocktails, this is an incredible bottle. It's like $35, but this is really, really good. I highly recommend taking a look at this as well. Let's see. So, Cybold, any other recommendations, man, that you have? Hopefully I said that right. Oh, let's see, rum. So I said Dorley's earlier, and at the price, Dorley's 12 year is so good. I just finished the bottle I have. Gin is some of my favorite, agreed. I think, especially for the price, I feel like gin is almost unbeatable. I think for rum, though, I think rum is probably the most value-driven spirit that can really over-deliver. But what's your favorite rum? White rum recommendations? I do. So I like this one here. Plancha Ray does a really good job. They used to be called Plantation, but they went over a name change recently. But this is really nice, very expressive, really, really good. I think Dorley's actually makes one as well. And if you can find one from Dorley's, I would probably recommend that one. But Plantaray does a good job as well. So those would be kind of my recommendations in the rum category. So probably stay away from some of the other ones. There's nothing wrong with like a Bacardi or any of those, but if you're going to give a gift or if you're looking for something really expressive, I'd probably stay maybe on the higher end with some of the recommendations that I had up there. I know I had a couple other ones, but I can't remember what they were at the moment. But yeah, those two you can't really go wrong. Let's see, what else do we have now for specialty bottles? I think there's a handful that really start to come out to me, and they're usually in more of the Amaro section. So Amaro is like a bittersweet liqueur. So think of it as think of it like an old fashioned in a glass, but more intense. It's like the original OG old fashioned. So sweet, boozy, bitter, and all balanced together. Some good examples of that would be Amaro Lucano. This is a really good bottle of Amaro. The one I would recommend, if you can find it, is this one here. Amaro Lucano the Anniversario. This is a scream. This might be one of the best Amaro I've tried. It just flavor for days. It just keeps going. And this would be a special bottle. I've tasted this to a handful of people that have really, really good palates, and they always are shocked at how good this is. So if you can find it, grab it. The normal is really good as well. But for that $50 price point, I think my favorite is going to be, hold on one second, see if I can get to it. This guy right here. This is Amaro Nonino. So this is an incredible bottle. It's about $45 to $50, but this is just candy, liquid, bitter orange, spice. It is phenomenal. This is such a good, always available Amaro, and it goes really well in classic cocktails and some of the new modern classics as well. So you haven't had good luck with rum. Yeah, definitely check those out, man. Plantaray would definitely be the one I would recommend for sure. Once again, unless you can find Dorley's. But man, I'm telling you, dude, if you can find, so Plantaray also has a pineapple infused rum, and usually with infusions, I steer away from them, but it is so good. The pineapple rum that they make is screaming good. I think it's called Dr. Stiglin's Fancy Rum or something like that. But if you can find it, my God, it is absolutely incredible. And if you are a tiki person, you're going to find all new ways of using it, or even in classic cocktails like that in a daiquiri just screams, man. So I think it's Stiglin's Fancy Rum. It is so good. Yeah. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Plantaray. I think they do a good job. So Amaro, where else were we going with that? Let's see. Oh, there's another one out of, I believe it's California, called Gran Classico. And this is a really rich, complex, sweeter, more balanced, deeper version of Campari. My understanding is that they used the original formula for Campari before it went through a reformulation. So this is, during its day, the closest you can get to that old school Campari flavor. No worries, man. Anything else? If you have any questions, dude, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. So if you're looking for any other spirits recommendations, that's what I'm here for. Hopefully I'll give some good advice anyways. But yeah, so there's a lot of really good Amari out there for the price. And Gran Classico is another one. Definitely check out if you haven't. So let's see some tools. Let's talk about some fun, kind of innovative tools or some interesting ideas, either for your bar or for a friend. So one of the things that has popped up over the last probably 10 years, if I had to guess, is ice. Ice is insane, man. There's so much so many ice tools out there, and probably like 5 years ago, it was all smoke. Like smoke cocktails were kind of the big thing, and ice was even before that, and it has stuck around even longer. So any kind of ice tool for any cocktail lover would be huge, and it's a good thing because there are a lot of good tools available at many different price points. So you can start off at the low end with just some really nice ice molds, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. Usually I'd recommend the 2-inch cubes for people, the large format cubes, or even the Collins cubes, or even the 1-inch ones, but I would probably stick with either the 2-inch or the circular cubes, unless you know exactly what the kind of cocktails they are looking for. But yeah, you could have all kinds of different shapes, sizes, styles, you name it, and you can probably find it in an ice mold, even like rubber duckies, which is kind of cool, kind of cute. But anything ice related is very popular right now. Now, if you kind of go up the scale in ice, you can spend as much as you want. I mean, you can get a dedicated ice maker, and it's not as expensive as it sounds. So you can have a tabletop ice maker cranking out ice for under $100 these days, which is unreal. I remember when the GE Opal came out, and it was like $500 or something insane. But now, because it has become so popular and so mainstream, that tabletop ice makers can be had for less than $100, and I've seen them this year, not on Black Friday deals. So you can definitely do that. I happen to have a handful here that I've tested and tried over probably the last year. There's a company called Hicozy, Hicozy, and I've been using their circular ice ball maker for about 6 months now, and I'm pretty happy with it. I use it at night because when it spits out that round ice, it gets pretty loud, and my assumption is probably energy intensive. So energy for us is cheaper at night, so that's usually why I run mine at night. I wake up and there's probably 10 cubes, and I just put them in the freezer. The early ones are going to start to dwindle and kind of lose their shape, but it's not a bad idea. So Hicozy makes a really nice circular ice maker and pumps out 2 cubes every like hour or two. But there are a lot of different ones if you want pebble ice for tiki. There's some great manufacturers out there. I believe Hicozy makes one as well. Yeah, definitely check those out for sure. Now, when we talk about ice, we're not only talking about the manufacturing process of ice, like making things, making water into ice, but you can also have a lot of fun with stamps. And this is something that I've seen fairly recently, where you get these big brass stamps and you get them personalized. So if you want to do the person's initial, or if they have like if their home is like a speakeasy style, then you could do that. Now, whiskey stones, man, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not a big fan. And the reasons I'm not a big fan, it feels a little gimmicky to me. You're supposed to put them in a freezer, but they don't have enough thermal mass to really make things cold. Not only that, but when we talk about whiskey stones, they're usually in a glass of just whiskey, right? It's whiskey and the whiskey stone, and the drinking experience on it is not great. It's just going to keep bashing in the mouth, and well, probably not, but it's not the most pleasurable experience, in my opinion. So you could do it. Like, I get the idea that you're keeping things at the proof they were designed to be at, and then just allowing that to drop in temperature. But I personally don't enjoy that drinking experience myself. But it could be a cool gift that somebody could receive. If it were me, I would stay away from the smaller ones and get the bigger ones. They're going to have a lot more thermal mass. They're going to do a better job, and they're going to be a little bit more avoidable if somebody's sipping than like just bashing them in the face. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, man. If I'm being honest, like, I'd much rather have a really good cube, because when you add ice or water to whiskey, especially ice, it changes every sip, right? You're adding a little bit more water as you take a sip. It gets back to equilibrium on temperature and dilution. And so like a bottle of Johnnie Walker Black with an ice cube is a very different experience the second you taste that first sip to 20 minutes later. Like, it just goes through these incredible changes. And so if I'm going to be drinking whiskey on the rocks, then that's the way I'm going to have it. I'm going to have a nice big fat cube in there if I can, or a circular cube, or a circle, not a circular cube. But that's going to slow down dilution. It's going to control that dilution, and it's going to get the whiskey nice and cold. And it just is a little bit more kind of an elevated experience, in my opinion. Now, this is where those brass stamps can come into play, though. So if you have that big 2-inch cube and you get one of those personalized brass stamps with a person's initial, that is an elevation on just whiskey drinking to the nth degree, right? You're probably not going to be using them in those fancy Glencairn glasses. If you don't know what those are, let me pull one out for you. Let's see here. You're not going to be drinking it out of this if you're putting it in one of those big ice cubes. But these are really great for tasting spirits as well. The idea is it's just going to give you a lot more surface area, and then you're going to be able to nose it and smell it. So if they're a whiskey drinker and they don't have a Glencairn glass, could be a great gift idea. I know I was very happy when I received mine. So that could be another great option for you. But yeah, really good question, man. And I same thing kind of applies with the whiskey stones, or I've seen those as well. So it's not metal, but it's like rock. And that's kind of even more of a head scratcher for me. It just doesn't make sense. But I know they sold a lot of them. So the whiskey stones and the whiskey, kind of the metal ones, definitely, I would avoid them. But yeah, so yeah, the ice stamps, man, it's where it's at, dude. I'm telling you, if you drop that on somebody, you're gonna blow their minds. And the cool thing about it is watching it happen. So you drop the stamp on, and it just starts to slowly melt the negative or the etching into the actual ice. So it's like this whole process, man. It's so cool. And so they have the stamps, and you can get them on like Etsy. I know is a good place for them. Stamp Prints, I think, is another one. I have a video I just launched on YouTube about 2025 Buyer's Guide. And a lot of the recommendations that I have here are in the description. So if you find that video, take a look in the description. I have a lot of links in there for the ice makers, for the ice molds, for the ice stamps, a lot of other ideas for you as well. But that, I'm telling you, man, that's a home run if you do that to somebody. I give that to somebody for the holidays or for yourself, man. So that could be a fun gift for yourself. The other one that's come up recently is, I don't know if you've seen them, but the brass plates. So it's like a 12-inch plate or an 8-inch plate, and they have different designs in different sections. And so the idea is you get those large 2-inch cubes, and you just put it on the plate, and then you rotate it. And so it cuts this design into the ice, but you have 4 different or 6 different designs to choose from. So it is like the ice stamp, you know, the old school wax king signet ice stamp, but on a plate with many different designs. Now this one is going to be a little bit more expensive. You're probably going to look at like $100 or so. But if you really want to elevate the gift even further, that could be one. But I love the brass stamp, and I highly recommend it. And they're a little bit more reasonable. I think you can get them for around $50. But that's going to be a showstopper of a gift for sure. So one of the other things that I was thinking about as well is if you're looking for an elevated gift like that, and you can do personalized cocktail napkins. And once again, you go on Etsy and get these, but I think there's a handful of producers out there that'll do personalized cocktail napkins. And you could get the fabric ones and get a really nice elevated ones. You could do coasters or something like that. But my God, like a monogrammed cocktail napkin, that's where it's at, dude. So hold on, I gotta read this comment here. I have a buddy who just bought a house, and that stamp would be a great housewarming gift for him. He already has a full bar. Totally, dude. I think you would blow his mind. And honestly, like, I don't have one myself. I need to buy one just for the videos and stuff like that. And plus, they're so cool. But if I receive one of those as a gift, my jaw would hit the floor. I would use it every time I entertained. If I'm doing whiskey or large format ice, you better believe I'm going to be pulling that thing out and telling a story about it, or thinking about you, the person that gave it to me. And if you put it in a really cool box or something, that's the move, man. I'm telling you. So yeah, but be careful, because you're gonna have to elevate it next year. So just be careful. So, but yeah, so I would do another option is those monogrammed or custom-made cocktail napkins. Super reasonable. I think you can get them for under 20 bucks. And that could be a really nice touch as well. You can get them in different colors, different styles, monogrammed. You can get whatever you want. Once again, you can spend as much as you want or as little as you want, and they are really cool. Same thing with coasters. Most of these things you can find on Etsy. But once again, if you find that video, I have a couple of recommendations in the description for sure. Now, I think, let's see what else we got. Oh, so here's a fun one. And this may not be for everybody, but I'm telling you, I'm making room here so I can bring up the machine. You might see some of the stuff down here. I actually have quite a collection of different things I've been testing over the last year or so. But this could be a really fun gift. And this isn't a gift that they're going to use immediately in the holidays. They could, but most likely spring and summer, they're going to be cranking this thing. Pool parties, backyard parties, barbecues, you name it, this thing's probably going to get fired up. And it's just going to be a complete crowd pleaser. So this is my new favorite guilty pleasure. So this is a slushie machine. And it does a really good job. So you could do non-alcoholic, just straight slushies in here. You throw a bottle of Coke in here or root beer, and it's going to freeze it up and turn it into slushie. I've been running this for about, probably since spring. And it is a head turner, man. Like, you bring this out at a party and people just lose their minds. You have a big batch of it, a backup batch in a fridge that's already dropped in temperature. So you don't have to wait for it to turn and get super cold. But this thing will turn something slushy from room temp in 15 minutes. So it's a really fun crowd pleaser. It doesn't have a ton of volume in it, but you don't need a ton of volume if you have the backup. So if you're doing batch margaritas or you're doing batch daiquiris or whatever, I'm telling you, this thing is easy to use, easy to clean, and not that expensive. I think it's about maybe 100, 150. But once again, we're talking about unique gifts here. And I don't think this is like ice level, but it's pretty cool level. I'm telling you, like that's a pretty great gift. So that could be a fun one as well. Let me see what else. I think I might have missed something up here of other things that I recommend. You can go crazy fancy if you want. So this is always an incredible find. This is a porthole infuser, and this might not look like a lot, but the idea of this is that this is a presentation piece. This is something that you're going to wow somebody with. This first got famous at Aviation. It's a cocktail bar up in Chicago, world-class bar, like top 50 bar without a doubt in the world. And they do a lot of experiential cocktails, and this is one of them. And so what you do is, this is called a porthole infuser. You're not doing a lot of infusing in here, but you're presenting the cocktail in it. So imagine you have this amazing cocktail that you've already created. Let's say you've infused lemon verbena and mint and orange peel and cubeb peppers and whatever you can think of that's like beautiful and colorful and it has a lot of intense colors. So you already have that created. You make the cocktail, you fill all of the ingredients that you infuse that cocktail with in here as a presentation piece, and then you put the cocktail in it and you seal it. And the server comes to the table, opens the cork, and pours it in your glass. So that's how this was designed to be used. And this is a really just eye-catching piece. So if you can find something like this, if this is the level of person you're buying for, this would be an incredible gift. This is a porthole infuser. I think this was on Amazon. Definitely a link in that video that you can find. Let's see what else. I think that for the most part kind of covers most of it from my perspective. Once again, with spirits, you can spend as little or as much as you want. I have an entire list of spirits in that video that I recommend. And these are recommendations that I've tried. So I've been a spirits judge for quite a few years now. So I hope that I've given you some good advice when it comes to like the value that you can have in each price point. So it's, I think it's 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 100 in every spirit category. And so I called out a couple of ones that I recommend. Let's see what else. So I think that's everything. Those are the recommendations that I have. Once again, if you're buying spirits, consider going to your local bottle shop and looking for those like half bottles. the 375s, because you can get some incredible spirits for a decent price if you're buying those minis. Now, if you're experimenting with vermouth, this is the way to go. Like, buy 375s of vermouth, because if you're not drinking it fast enough, it's going to oxidize and turn, and then that's why people hate vermouth. So if you're buying vermouth, look for 375s if you're not using it fast enough. And this could be a really cool idea as well. Now, if you know they like Manhattans, put together a little Manhattan set. Get a great bottle of whiskey, like this one, Rittenhouse. Get a really great vermouth, like Arpano Antica or Punta Mess, or any of the ones that you love. Dolan makes a phenomenal vermouth. So whiskey, bottle of vermouth, bottle of bitters, sugar cubes. That's a Manhattan, or not sugar cubes. You don't need that. That's old fashioned. Get my wires crossed here. But that would be a really cool gift. You put in a nice like decoration somehow, either a basket or a box or a tray or something like that with glassware. Man, that is that'd be a cool gift. So yeah, man, thanks for coming in, dude. I really appreciate you stopping in, and hopefully we'll do some more lives in the future. But I appreciate the questions. I appreciate you hanging in with me, man, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future. But I'm going to continue kind of wrapping this up. So feel free, anybody else, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in. But hopefully you can rewatch some of these and get some good recommendations. Now, I think those are kind of it. The Glencairn glass, if they're just a whiskey drinker, for sure. And then books, man. You can't really go wrong with books. So there's some good ones. If they are kind of at the top tier and they love experimenting, the ones that I would recommend, Liquid Intelligence by David Arnold. This is a really dense book for experimentation. So I highly recommend that. Then they also have a really good book from, good dude, like this guy. So Steve the Bartender. His cocktails are good, man. So I recommend that. And then one of my fun ones, let's see. So this is a super fun one. And if you're a fan of the music, this might be a great cocktail book. Can I Buy You a Drink by T-Pain? And I'm telling you, I love this book. I freaking love this book. It is funny. The names of the cocktails are amazing. And the cocktails themselves are really solid. So if you have anybody that's a T-Pain fan that loves cocktails, this is a home run of a book, man. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being funny. This is really good. So that would be a good one. And I saw that your wife bought you that book. That's a cool one. Or the Liquid Intelligence. But the one, like, if you are looking for another level of book, these are expensive, but I promise you the amount of depth of knowledge that comes from the people over at Aviary is insane. So this one is zero. And I've learned so much about spirit-free cocktails and making my own base spirits and designing non-alcoholic cocktails from scratch from this book. And it was expensive. It was like $80 for this book, but I use this thing all the time. This is not only good for just non-alcoholic, but really understanding how to pull flavors out. This is like Liquid Intelligence on crack. They also have another one as well. So they're both really, really good. They're about $100, maybe 80, but Aviary books, cocktail books. These are good, just coffee table books, but I'm telling you, like, they're so deep in technique and knowledge and balance that it's absolutely incredible. So if you're looking to level up and you're looking for an incredible book to buy somebody, either of the Aviary books, this one and Aviary Cocktails, I think is the other name, home runs, absolute home runs of books. So that pretty much wraps it up for me. So thank you for hanging out, and I appreciate it. If you haven't got a chance, always subscribe to the videos. Take a look at some of the videos that we publish. We did a buyer's guide for the holidays on YouTube. So if you look that up, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. A Bar Above cocktail buyer's guide. And there's a ton of recommendations. I think it's like a 30-minute video that we just kind of go through a bunch of different criteria and ideas. So thanks again. wish you guys happy holidays, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.